Welcome, guys, to another week 24 and 25 of the EPL Premier League football show on the Global Sports Channel. I'm your host, David Barbash. Happy to welcome back our two panelists. Every week we have so much banter and so much fun. First up, welcoming Darren Mccauley, footballer, striker, winger extraordinaire, having played for Derry, also Coleraine, Inverness, and also signed with Essendon in the Australian leagues, of course affected by COVID. Welcoming back once again, Darren, thank you so much for coming back on. And of course, a lifelong Manchester United fan. I have a hard time getting that one out, being a Leeds fan. Welcome back, Darren. Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me, David. Thank you.
Next up, of course, our old friend Mike Sutton, lifelong Arsenal fan. I don't know what's worse, Arsenal or Manchester United, but you guys like punishment. And literally, I could see why you like punishment, because you like Arsenal. And you've been a lifelong fan of Arsenal, but you also are the president of your local football club, Surfside Waves, right there in Australia. And let's dive right into the games, but I wanted to thank you for coming back on, Mike. And I know you enjoy the banter that we have with Darren, because it's easy to pick on a Manchester United fan, of course. What do you think about that?
Well, I think for someone who supports Leeds, and I can't remember the last year you won the Premier League in. I'm not sure, maybe you have it somewhere written down. I think, I think the issues are shared equally between the three of us.
That's true. Well, when we get to the end of the game, we'll see the hierarchy. And I don't think Leeds will be in last place in the standings. But let's cover the games, because I know you'll get me back on some of these games. Let's start off the games on Wednesday. First up was a great game, I thought. Everton, 3-1 losers at home to Manchester City. But we're going to get back to that game. That was one of the featured games. Burnley was next up. They tied 1-1, a 1-1 draw with Fulham. Fulham, I think, will get out of the bottom three. And then on Friday, one of the games of the week, I thought, was Wolves at home, 1-0 winners at my side, against my side, I should say, Leeds United. Leeds very unlucky to lose that game, dominant in possession, and unlucky to lose to a goal that was a fluke goal, in my opinion, but we're going to get back to that. Let's dive into the first game of the week. Everton at home, losing 3-1 to Manchester City. I wanted to get your opinion, guys, because for me, literally when Richarlison equalises after Phil Foden had put Manchester City up in the 32nd minute, it was a 1-1 tied game. Really great attacking football played by both sides. And then two wonder strikes, first from Mahrez and an absolute beaut from Bernardo Silva into the corner. What was your take on the games? I want to throw it over to Darren first and then turn it over to Mike. I really enjoyed this. I thought each of the goals, all four goals, absolutely beauts, especially the Manchester City goals. Darren, what was your take on the game? Did you think it was a deserved blowout? You think the score was an accurate reflection of the game? Or was it a tale of two halves in terms of chances and possession?
I think Manchester City deserved it. They have a lot of momentum right now, and that's such a powerful thing. They just seem to be taking over nicely. And Mahrez, Silva, and Foden again. We spoke about him and the run of form that he's on. Everton had their chances. They're doing well. It shows that how far Everton have came when they're pushing a team like Man City. Like we said, Ancelotti's brought a bit of class there, and they've definitely brought the club forward. So it's exciting times for Everton, but they're just not there yet. Man City are a few levels above them, and the result shows that.
Yeah, I mean, look, 18 games straight I don't know if you could argue with that. It's just absolutely phenomenal. I think this win marked, I think, the 18th win once they won that game. So absolutely incredible run, and it puts them 10 points ahead at the top of the league. Do you agree with that assessment, Mike? I think in terms of goals, chances in the game, I think there's really only one winner if you look at the two halves combined. It had to be Man City. What's your take on the game?
Yeah, I think Darren is spot on. Manchester City right now, I mean, they're really like a cat playing with a dead mouse, aren't they? The mouse thinks it's got a chance, but it was already dead before it started the game.
Good assessment.
And that's just the way they are at the moment. They're almost untouchable. I think that, yeah, they, I think there's a false sense of the other side being actually in the game. And when they decide to put the turbos on, it's all over.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the chances, only 3 shots, on goal, 2 on target for Everton, 11 shots on goal for Manchester City. And I mean, absolute, when he cut in the Mahrez goal, what a strike. I mean, absolute curler right into the corner. And then the Silva goal, another great strike. And then what Darren mentioned, I have to go back to what Darren mentioned, last week, you were talking about 2 players that really impressed you so far for the season and lately, and the run that they've been on late. And you went to Gundogan, who is one of my favourite players of the season for Manchester City, but also the youngster Phil Foden. He's a superstar in the making. That kid is something else. Absolute great points from both of you guys. Let's move on to the other featured game in the first couple of days of games, and that was my team, Leeds United. I thought they were very unlucky to lose at Wolves with a freak goal. Did you guys see the game, first of all, and how unlucky Meslier coming off that absolute horror show the previous game? Other than that, this freak goal that bounces literally off the bar, hits him in the back and rolls over the line. Leeds did not deserve to lose this game. And Mike, you brought up VAR how many times so far this season? Patrick Bamford, how many times is he going to be called off for literally maybe a couple of millimeters on the end of his his toenail? I mean, these decisions are infuriating me. And while Darren has a good point last time, the basis for using this VAR has good intention, but is this going too far with toenails, armpits? It's infuriating me. Leeds did not lose this game fairly. I think this was easily a deserved point from this game, if not 3 points. Your take on the game? I'm going to turn it over because Darren had the first chance last time. To you, Mike, your take on the Leeds Wolves game overall.
Yeah, I think spoken like a true Leeds fan, but I think this time you're right. You won't see too many goals scored like that again. Maybe in under 12s, under 10s, with the goalie kicking in the back, the back of the head of a striker running away from the goal, things like that.
What a freak goal that was.
The VAR issue, I mean, clearly we know that across all sports, cricket and a range of sports that it's in now, that it's there to prevent the absolute howlers from occurring. And the absolute injustices where you can see that everyone can see that he was off or that he handballed or whatever, or that he was diving. In the cases like the toenails and the sleeve of the shirt and
the angles,
whatever. I just think that's crazy. It kills the game. It kills up, what could have been a different competitive game, because if they score, it's a different game.
And momentum shifts back to Leeds. It's 1-1, and then all of a sudden the momentum shifts, right?
From a game that's more competitive in that sense.
Darren, do you agree on that assessment? And also, do you still stand by the VAR? Do you think in this case, was it harsh, the decision on the VAR against Patrick Bamford in this case?
Well, I think it's sour grapes from you, David.
Come on.
It was a nonchalant finish from the Wolves player. And with regards to your VAR bitterness, you can't be a little bit pregnant. You either are or you're not. And with VAR, you're either offside or you're not. So totally deserved to be offside from Bamford, and totally deserved one by Wolves against
Do
a
you
bitter
even know who
players.
they were playing?
Yeah, they were playing a small team called Leeds.
Darren's such a staunch supporter of VAR, don't you? We've discussed this before.
I know. We know who owns VAR. We know who
Well,
owns
when they do, when they've got the starting 11 up on the team board, the first position always filled is VAR. Then the goalkeeper, then the defenders. That's the way United pick their team. So, I mean, of course he's going to defend them. And you are right. You can't be half pregnant. So, if you're going to use it, you suppose you have to use it for exactly what it is. But my view is that, unless it helps me, it kills the game off on other games.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, that was, I think, listen, overall, it helped Wolves. Leeds for the week, they were on the right track. They had the better possession in the second half. I thought they were unlucky to lose the game, even if we go with Darren's point and say Wolves deserved to win the game. Momentum, I think, from that half onwards shifted to Leeds. And in the second game of the week, you'll see Leeds started playing a lot better football, showing the type of quality that they can play. Let's go to the next games on Saturday. And it was first Burnley, a pretty much bore draw, a 0-0 draw against West Bromwich Albion. I don't see West Brom getting out of the bottom three. Big Sam, I'll be surprised if he's still there at the end of the season. Let's move on to the next game. And I thought this was a very good game. It was Southampton, a 1-1 draw with Chelsea. Minamino putting Southampton shockingly up, because remember, going into this game, Southampton, no wins in, I think it was 7 games going into this one. So the fact that they were 1-0 up at half-time, I was like, wow, what's going on here? But deserved penalty. Mason Mount gets the equaliser. It's a 1-1 draw, 71% possession for Chelsea. Weird taking off. I don't know why, but one of the substitutes, Callum Hudson-Odoi, was put on in the second half, and yet he was pulled in the 76th minute. And there was a bit of controversy about that. But Tuchel, quick thing. We're not going to go much into the game. Thomas Tuchel, he hasn't lost a game yet. Chelsea, top 4, not top 4, and the reason why. Going to Darren first.
I think that I'm with a serious chance now. I've been really, really impressed by this new manager. I wanted to see Lampard get a good run at it, but I've been super impressed by the change that he's made in such a short space of time. They dominate possession now. They're much more attacking. I think they deserved the one against Southampton, but didn't get the result. I think he's been a breath of fresh air. With Hudson-Odoi taking him off, that's never a good thing for a player to come on and then be taken off, and then especially to kind of criticize him so publicly in his post-match interview.
Yeah, it was a bad.
It was good to see him start the next game. Hudson-Odoi started the next game, which always gives him more confidence. I was delighted to see that, but it's never a good feeling as a player to come on and then be taken off. But it shows the high standards that's expected by the manager.
Yeah, well taken. And I think highlighting the fact that he started him the next game maybe gave him some poise and maybe sent a message out. And then, okay, maybe he admitted, maybe I was a bit harsh on him. Give him that chance to restore some of the confidence. What was your take on Chelsea overall, Mike? And do you think they're a top 4 side? And do you think that was called for, the substitution?
Yeah, well, it pains me to say it as being a few kilometres away as one of our arch rivals, but I think Chelsea look really good. I think they look like the potential they had at the start of the season. I always thought they were going to be right up there. Obviously, that fell away under Lampard, unfortunately. as Darren said, would have been great to see him go well. The new manager's awesome. I think he's terrific. He's brought a lot of energy on the side. You can see how passionate he is about football in general. And with the Hudson-Odoi thing, we don't know what happens behind closed doors. We don't know what sort of things he's trying to work through in the dressing room and with different players. And there must have been something there that he just decided on that day to just nip it in the bud and maybe make an example of it, with the hope to, develop the player for the rest of the season. So I hope so. I hope that's what it was. But like Darren said, that's a nasty, nasty feeling on global television to be put on at halftime and taken off 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later.
Yeah, you probably want to hide yourself under a rock, basically. But the fact that he started the next game, as Darren pointed out, I think maybe give him some confidence back. Let's move on to the next game, guys. Fulham finally got a win, but it came at the expense of the team just 2 positions below them in the league. The bottom side, Sheffield United. I think it's a listen. Adama Lukman, who scored the winner and the only goal in the game, I'm a big fan of. I think he's got terrific pace for Fulham. I think they'll pull out of the bottom 3. Sheffield United, I think we can stamp it already. No way do they stay in the Premier League. Last up for Saturday, one of the shockers of the week, or maybe not, because this is now 4 losses in a row. And what was it? 3 at home for the first time since 1927 or something like that. For Liverpool, another home loss to Everton, 2-0. Richarlison and Sigurdsson with the penalty in the 83rd minute to wrap it up. What is going on? Kabak and Henderson initially started the game at centre-back. Henderson goes off injured. Can it absolutely get worse for Jurgen Klopp's side? I don't think it can. Mike, you go first. What is going on with Liverpool? Can they even stay in the top 6, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? As we talk about all the time, momentum is an amazing thing in sport. And I thought when they had that Champions League win the previous week, that might have reset everything a little bit. It hasn't, obviously. And I can't recall a side being so decimated by injuries like Liverpool have. I mean, I think they haven't even got a reserve bench anymore. Who do they put on next? Maybe the big German has to come and play himself. I'm not sure what they do, but they've got to do something because, they're a massive club. They're of course, been going so well for the last 4 years, 3 to 4 years. Who knows where they finish up? I'm not going to predict it.
Yeah, Darren, what's your take on that? I think Mike brings up a good point. Their bench is even almost decimated at this point, and where do they go from here? I mean, it's not looking great. They're looking weak in midfield, weak at centre-back, and the confidence is seemingly shot because they're not scoring up front anymore in the last few games. From a striker's point of view, what's your take? I mean, is it lack of confidence with the strikers now at this point? Is it the keepers' confidence is shot, the centre-backs, midfield? Is it filtering?
Yeah, I agree with Mike. But I think the goals are always going to flow with Liverpool no matter what because of the strikers that they have. But as Mike said, the squad has been decimated with injury, and that never helps. I'm happy to see it as a Manchester United fan, to see Liverpool drop down the scale. But look, their defence has been torn apart. They've got Henderson at centre-back. He's came off injured. I think the best thing for Liverpool now is for the season just to end, and so that they can regroup, they can invest some money in the summer and just forget about this season. And I think they will still get top 4.
You think they'll get top 4?
Yeah. I just think with their quality of strikers, when you have the goals in Salah and Mane in the locker. But I think the best thing for them is to get the ball up to them as soon as possible and keep it away from the defence, as basic as that sounds. But best thing for Liverpool is put this season behind them and then regroup for next season.
Yeah, I think if they're able to hit the pause button, they're the team in the league that would hit the pause button right now on the season. or hope that there's a lockdown that would just, prevent the season or put it on hold for a few months to get people healthy. That's probably not going to happen. So I'm going to disagree with you on that. I don't think they'll make the top 4. I think they're going to be lucky to hold on to the top 6, because I think they're going to be leaking goals, even if the strikers start scoring again, which I'm pretty sure Salah, Mane will regain some of the confidence. I don't see that. I don't see the back 4 tightening up. I just don't see it happening. I think they're going to give it too many goals. And if you look at even the sides like Leeds, they're only in 10th place. They're literally only a few points behind. So that gap between 6th place, where they sit right now, and 10th place is a small one. I think one of the sides, maybe in 7th or 8th, hopefully a little further down, will leapfrog then. What do you think about that, Mike? Do you think that they're capable of finish in the top 4?
Yeah, well, I mean, as Darren said, they're capable. They're capable with the goal scorers. It's what can they do to salvage, the midfield and the back end of the side to be able to do that. But they need to really, I would say, perform in the Champions League as high as they can now, and really start building for next year. It's similar, a bit like Sheffield United. They have to be getting their mind around next season in the Championship. Otherwise, they're at risk of, sliding straight down again because of such a bad, horrific season that they've had. So for me, Liverpool, and no doubt Klopp is already planning that, the league for next year now. But they have to get some confidence from somewhere, and maybe that's Champions League.
Yeah, well, let's move on, guys, because I know the off season. I think for some of these sides, my side especially, Leeds United, we want to sign 5 players. As much as the healthy Liverpool squad could regain their title, I think some of their players, they need to have some major signings, in my estimation, in the off season. Let's move on to Sunday, guys. And Sunday, another great game kicked off Sunday, and that was West Ham, winners 2-1 at home against Spurs, a faltering side. We're not going to spend much time talking about the thing, but a quick thing. Mikel Antonio, we know when he's healthy. Darren, you're a striker. I think he's a fantastic striker. But Jesse Lingard, since Man U let him go, he's proven to be a great signing for West Ham. They continue their hot run. What is going on at Spurs? Is Jose Mourinho doomed? You don't like Jose Mourinho's style of management or play. Are you happy to see Spurs slide down the table?
Absolutely. Yeah, I am. I'm a big fan of Antonio. I think he's a nuisance. I think he's very underrated. He's so strong, very powerful in the air. It's good to see Lingard do well. I'm happy for him. He wasn't getting the game time at Man United, and to take that jump away from the club where he's been at for so long and perform at a different club at a high level is satisfying for me as a supporter. But with regards to Tottenham, I'm happy to see them slip down. I'm not a big Mourinho fan, and I don't think Tottenham are going to play good football, or any team are going to play great, attractive football under a Mourinho team, because his best player is the London bus.
That's exactly. We talked about them parking the London bus. That's his style of play, even since the Chelsea days, and I just don't like it either. And you probably love to, give a bit of stick to Mourinho as well, Mike, right? Being an Arsenal fan, so I'm sure you're loving to see Spurs slide down the table, and they're on a poor run as of late.
Well, I'll tell you this: I stake my Arsenal heritage on this statement right now. If they ever sign Mourinho to be Arsenal's head coach, I will switch teams.
Wait a second. Are you going to say you'll become a Manchester United fan if that happens?
I said switch teams, not go crazy.
Well, you have a Salford City top on, so you're getting closer to Manchester. So
yeah, well, I mean, mate, listen, this top is just to show the football fans at large, the millions of people that watch this show, that what we're about here is the great game of football. And I'm prepared to put team colours aside to show that
Okay,
respect
Mike.
the game of football.
Okay,
And
we know
what,
deep down secretly
what
what you
Salford
really
City have,
feel.
hang on,
Yeah,
what Salford City have done
yeah,
and the way they've approached their tiny little club and,
yeah,
well,
sure.
whatever. Anyway,
Yeah,
mate, this say I love you, mate. It's not your fault you're a United fan.
yeah. It sounds as if it's as if you're coming out, like secretly you're trying to give these signs, but it's not really happening, and you're like, you're dancing around the topic. Okay, let's move on.
The next game up on Sunday was Aston Villa, 2-1 losers at home to Leicester City. And I thought it was a pretty good game overall. Plenty of shots on goal for both sides. Maddison put Leicester City up in the 19th minute. Then a Harvey Barnes. It was 2-0 lead at half-time. Traore made it interesting for Villa in the 48th minute. But Aston Villa, another one of those inconsistent sides. I asked you this a few weeks ago, and we thought that maybe Villa, if they were fortunate to maintain that attractive style of play, maybe they'll get into between 8th and 10th place. I don't think they're going to make the top 6. Too inconsistent for me. Leicester City, possibly top 4 position. But let's move on to the next game. And the next 2 games are going to be our featured games for Sunday. First was Arsenal at home to Manchester City. Manchester City, you're going to love this, Darren. In the second minute, I thought, to be honest with you, I thought Arsenal a little bit unlucky. It wasn't the most exciting game. Raheem Sterling in the second minute, they only win 1-0 away at Arsenal. Take it away, Darren. What's your take? Arsenal, 1 shot on target? What is going on? What happened to Aubameyang in this game? Take it away, Darren.
Yeah, Man City just completely dominated the game from the first few minutes. The Sterling goal, just typical Manchester City. From the first whistle, they just go for the throat of the opposition, and Arsenal just are not equipped to deal with them, the manager or the players. And so I just think it's an expected result, given where Arsenal are. And if you're a supporter of Arsenal right now, as I know Mike is, then you must be worried about the future.
Ooh, those are fighting words right there, Mike. What do you say to that?
I'm not worried about the future at all. I'm worried about Arsenal though. Look, I think that, like we said before, any side playing against City right now is dead before they start, and that's, I mean, everyone's always got a chance, but I don't think they really do. City are just unstoppable. I think to Arsenal's credit, it was only 1-0. I think they obviously went in with a strategy of to keep the game as much in the midfield as possible, and just trying to limit the risks. But City are just too much quality, too many players playing the Pep way at the right time, all the time, every game. I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised that Darren's so happy because, last time I looked at City and were arch enemies, but apparently now he loves City. So whatever. There's your loyalties for you.
Well, it's just at the minute right now, it's the lesser of two evils, and because of your presence, I think that's why. And Manchester City are running away with the league, so
I think listen, guys, we all know Manchester City's running away with it, and the fact that is that you could have literally Sergio Aguero. If we'd said even 1 season ago, Sergio Aguero would not even be brought on, sitting on a bench, or some games, obviously, since he's come back, not even being on the bench. And Kevin De Bruyne being in and out recently, and they're still performing. They've got such depth, which both of you brought up in the last time we were on the show. We're going to move ahead. Oh, man, this pains me. But Manchester United were at home to Newcastle. And Newcastle, actually, I think they're going to be, before you know it, they're going to be in the bottom 3. 3-1 winners. But at halftime, I'm thinking, Manchester United, what are you doing? 1-1 at halftime. They finally wake up finally, after the Rashford put them ahead in the 30th minute, only for Alain Saint-Maximin to equalise for Newcastle in the 36th minute. But Daniel James makes it 2-1. And Bruno Fernandes, yes, Bruno Fernandes, once again, that's, that thorn in my side. He wins the game in the 75th minute with a penalty. Not much to say on this game. Listen, 11 shots on goal versus 9. Newcastle, 28% possession. I don't know if we need to talk about Manchester United, but in respect of my esteemed friend Darren, we should spend at least 1 minute talking about a hopeless game, Manchester United winning 3-1. Go ahead, Mike. What's your take on the game? Boring or deserved win or both?
Well, I mean, if you're excited about beating Newcastle, I think you're in the wrong sport. So, yeah, I mean, they're horrible to watch, but they keep winning somehow, 7-14. So, you know, they're not storming away. You know, they should be putting teams like Newcastle to the sword really easily. With 28 possession, Newcastle was still in the game right to the end. So, you know, it says a lot about the way United play, which is really disappointing because they've got some brilliant players. We know, you know, they've got some incredible players. And Bruno Fernandes, I mean, man, love to have, any club would love to have that guy. He's just a sensational player.
A difference maker for sure, Mike, yeah.
He is. And, you know, teams need that. I think if you look at all the teams that have done exceptionally well, there often can be one or two different makers that lifts everyone else up with a moment of brilliance, and he certainly has that.
Darren, listen, expected, of course, right? If you're not going to beat Newcastle, you know, that's going to be embarrassing based upon their late run of form. Manchester United made it harder. Did they have to work for it in the second half after being, 1-1 at the end of the first half? What was your take on the game?
I think ultimately they deserve to win the game. Fernandes again popping up. Look, he's been the standout player of the league in terms of the midfielders. Him, Gundogan, and Maddison. I think those three, probably Foden as well, but those three have been the best midfielders in the league from my point of view. And the guy Saint-Maximin for Newcastle, I've been very impressed by him. Very impressed over the last few weeks. And he had 3 or 4 shots against us, and he was always a goal threat. So if he keeps banging in the goals, they may be in with a chance of surviving relegation. But United taking over nicely. Good result. Job done. Great.
Let's move on to the games that were on Monday. There was one game on Monday, and that was Brighton Hove Albion. They scored once in the 55th minute, but it wasn't enough because I felt I was heartbroken in a way, even though I'm not a fan of either Crystal Palace or Brighton Hove Albion, but I'm a bit heartbroken. I feel for their manager because even though Crystal Palace went up in the 28th minute through Jean-Philippe Matata, they got back into it, Brighton Hove Albion. They had 16 shots on goal. They equalised. They've got more of the possession, 75% possession. And what happens? Literally with almost the last kick of the game, Christian Benteke cruelly takes all 3 points for Crystal Palace. This is one of those teams, Brighton Hove Albion. They dominate with possession. They dominate with the shots. They've really improved their offensive play in the last few games. And I think they're probably one of the most unlucky sides in the EPL. We're not going to spend too much time, but I really feel for their manager. If he gets the sack, I don't think it's deserved. I think he's a good manager.
I don't feel for him at all. The problem he's got is he sacked all the Australians, got rid of all the Aussies in his team, and that's his problem. They should sack him just for the sheer fact he's got rid of Matty Ryan, best goalkeeper in the world by miles. You know, he didn't do enough to keep Aaron Moy, who's now making $1 trillion a day playing in China. And, you know, that's his biggest problem. So, whatever.
Well, you know what? Matty Ryan, I do agree with you on that. I think Matty Ryan's a pretty good keeper. A quick thing on Brighton. You think unlucky?
I'm a huge Aaron Moy fan as well. And I don't think there's any Australians in the Premier League now, if I'm correct. So,
Wow.
hopefully in the future we can actually develop the coaching here to make that happen. But terrible result for Brighton. The commentator actually said this would be burglary right now if Crystal Palace won, and they did win, and Brighton deserved the win, but possession and shots on target don't translate to results, and it's all about hitting the back of the net, and Benteke done that with a sublime finish.
Sublime finish indeed. And we go on to the last game of the week, and that was my side finishing on a high note. Leeds United with the best display they've had in the recent few games. Second half in the last match where they lost against Wolves showed their promise. This pains both of you, I know, but an absolutely brilliant display, destroying a pathetic, absolutely pathetic side in the second half in Southampton. However, first half Southampton probably deserved something out of the game. If you looked at the first half, they had quite a few shots on goal. They were unlucky. They had 11 shots on goal. Second half, I don't know what Bielsa said in that dressing room, but Bamford with absolute sublime finish in the corner. Dallas with a beaut, really great strike in the 78th. Another boy from Northern Ireland, Stuart Dallas. And of course, best signing, I think, for Leeds this season, the Brazilian winger Rafinha has been a revelation for Leeds, who now move into 10th place, one place higher than Arsenal. Deserved win, 100% on this one. Leeds look great. And I'll tell you what, guys, you might disagree with me on this one. We got Diego Llorente back. Once we get Phillips back from injury, we get Robin Koch back, we get Rodrigo back. We have a healthy squad, and we can actually play players in their actual position. Leeds, next season, mark my words, will be in the top 6. That's my prediction. Did you see the game, guys? Opinion on the game? Pro Leeds winning the game or not? Go ahead.
Sorry, Darren, I've jumped in ahead of you there, mate, just because it's fresh in my mind. Rafinha was tearing it up. It was just smoke pouring behind him. He was on fire. What a player, and that's why we love to watch Leeds for the football. I think even Darren would agree that the attacking, when they're on fire like that and they're scoring and passing and playing that high tempo, high line, they're great to watch and deserved winners.
Yeah, thank you. Listen, Darren, I know, we all take the mickey out of each other because we have rival squads. And there's probably no more tense rivalry than, at least from the Leeds perspective, than Leeds-Man U. Maybe Arsenal's in our cauldron of teams that we don't necessarily like, but it's more fierce, I think, from a Leeds perspective against Manchester United. But listen, when we don't have a healthy back four, we're going to get destroyed by teams like Manchester United when they're on 6-2. What happened, 4-2 against Arsenal. But when we're on and we start to get healthy bodies back, I think we can play with the majority of the league. And on our day, if we're healthy, we'll be right there. What's your take on the game? Do you agree with any of those assessments?
Yeah, I think from a Leeds point of view, it's good to see that you guys kept a clean sheet, because usually if you do one, you do concede a goal. When they are attacking the free-flowing football, it's quite unique in how they transition from defence to the attacking lines. And
so quick,
Rafinha,
right?
So quick, so fluid. And their setup is very unique, how they transition the ball. I've never seen a team do that before. And Rafinha flying, Bamford popping up with a goal again. Next season, if he hits 20 goals next season, he could be pushing for an England position. And Stuart Dallas also playing really, really well. He's a fellow countryman of mine, and it's really good to see him do well. And an excellent finish with the outside of his left foot as well.
You see that? He just when he got that
Very
pass,
good.
he just right into the left corner. Beaut, absolute beaut. Listen, guys, I wasn't a happy camper after the Wolves game, but I saw the effort. I think overall all of our sides are headed in the right direction. Even if Arsenal have been up and down as of late, I believe Arsenal are a top 6 side if they get the consistency. And of course, Man U, listen, I think Man U probably will end up in second place, but there's still a ways to go. We will see. I want to throw something at you guys after I just cover the top 6. So Manchester City in first place, 59 points, played 25. Manchester United 10 points behind with 49 points. Leicester also 49 points on goal difference. They're in third. West Ham, surprisingly, guys, in fourth place, 43 points. Chelsea, fifth place, 40 points. Sixth place, Liverpool with 40 points. Leeds are in 10th place, only 5 points behind. 5 points behind sixth place. And Arsenal's only 6 points behind Liverpool. So anything can happen in the remaining part of the season. We're going to wrap up with, I want to ask you guys something for the fans out there. I was thinking about my rivals here, Arsenal and Manchester United. I'm curious, guys, if you thought about all-time team for Arsenal and Manchester United and Leeds. Let's go with each respective team. I'm going to kick it over to Darren first. Get your all-time team for Manchester United, and then we'll give our brief comments if we agree with those assessments, and then we'll go to Mike for his all-time Arsenal team. Just throw some names out. And then I'll throw out my choices for all-time squad for Leeds United, and we'll call it a wrap for the week. Give us some of your, if you had to put together your all-time squad for Manchester United, who's in it, who's not, who may be on the bench if they don't make the starting squad?
So we're doing starting 11 and on the bench?
Yes, you can go with starting 11, or you can throw out more than 11. And who's in keeper number one? Who first of all?
Okay, so I'm putting Edwin van der Sar in goals, just ahead of Schmeichel. Yeah, just ahead of him. I'm going to put Dennis Irwin right back. I'll put Jaap Stam and Nemanja Vidic centre halves.
Ooh.
I will put Patrice Evra left back. Jesus, a tough one. Centre mid. I have to put Keenan Scholes.
Yes.
On the right, I'll have to put Ronaldo. On the left, I'll have to put Giggs.
Can't leave him out.
In the number 10 in the pocket, in the hole, I'll have to put George Best. And then up top, my striker.
Who do you go with? Do you go with Rooney? Do you go with Van Nistelrooy? Do you go with Cantona? Do you go with, who do you go with? Cole, God.
Oh my God, I think I have to go with Rooney, because in that starting 11, you've got Giggs, Best, and Ronaldo. So I want to put a bit of steel up there. If I put Cantona, I know he's hard, but he wouldn't track as much. Then on the bench, I'd have Schmeichel. I'd have to put Mark Hughes. I'd have to put
Hughesy.
Cantona.
Cantona on the bench, Mike. Wow.
I'd have to. I know it's a bit tough one. Who else have I missed out there? So many legends. Kanchelskis, unreal. Dennis Law, Bobby Charlton.
Well, so you've got an amazing squad. That's enough there. You're really paining me now. But I tell you what an all-time squad. I'm going to give you a quick thing on that. I pretty much had the similar team. I did have Schmeichel starting. Had Rio Ferdinand starting.
Nah.
Yes, I did. I was torn, really. I was torn between Irwin Ferdinand. And again, I didn't position, I just put in back four. And I was torn between using Van Nistelrooy up front. Van Nistelrooy for me as well. It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. But I had everything else was pretty much spot on with what you said, you know. Any comments real quick? I know we don't have much time here. You've got to get going in a sec. What's your thought? Do you agree with if you had to pick out a Man U squad, not that you would pick a Man U squad at all, but would you start a lot of the same people all time?
What are my thoughts on an all-time Man United team? Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, you know what? So just give us real quick, give us your top. Here's the Arsenal picks. Who's your all-time Arsenal side? It doesn't have to be starting 11. You just throw out some players that would be in your starting 11.
Yep. So I'd have Bergkamp and Henry up front. I'd keep Vieira and Robert Pires together.
Yes.
I'd get rid of Lehmann and put David Seaman in. I'd bring Tony Adams back and have him with Toure and Cole and maybe Ray Parlour. Ray Parlour in the midfield as well. You know, I mean, I've just got so many. How long have we got? I actually have to go in about an hour, so we haven't enough time.
That's true. That's true. You know what? Listen, you've got so much depth over the years. I would go like you did with Bergkamp and Henry. I would have Liam Brady in there. I like Liam Brady. I was torn because I had Tony Adams, of course, but I was thinking about Tony Adams and then Lee Dixon and Martin Keown, but then there's also Frank McClintock from way back in the day, as well as Pat Rice. So both of you guys have rich heritages. To make it easy for me, I would have gone with the Don Revie side and stuck with that. We don't have time. Next time we'll go into the Leeds team of all time. We're out of time, but I want to welcome you guys back next week. We can take the mickey out of each other. Hopefully, this time next week, Darren will give us more fodder for taunting him. But as of now, Manchester United, we don't really have much to pick him on, except for his choice of teams. What do you think to that? What's your last words you want to say to people out there in terms of football and the week ahead? Mike, in signing off, what do you want to say to everyone? I think that's silence from Mike. Darren, speaks volumes as an Arsenal fan. He probably had to go. Let's say goodbye for Mike Sutton, and we'll see you next week, Mike. And the last word goes to Darren Mccauley. And what do you want to say to everyone?
I think the league is wrapped up. Manchester City are nailed on to win the league. The top four, it's very exciting. There's still a lot of football to be played. Will be interesting to find out if Fulham avoid relegation. And I think the teams mid-table, the teams that are there now, should be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. But that's the three main takeoffs, I think, from the Premier League.
Yeah, great assessments. And hey, we just got Mike. Quick thing, you want to say farewell for the week to everyone and wish everyone goodbye? Yep.
Look, I think great weekend ahead. Always enjoy your football. It's such a brilliant game to be a part of and to watch as a fan, no matter what you're watching. Top four for mine. Quick prediction: City first, Leicester second, Chelsea third, and United scraping in at fourth. Pains me to say. That's my top four. I'm out.
Well, Mike, goodbye. I'm going to go with Manchester City. I will go with Manchester United in second. I'm going to go with Leicester in third, and I'm going to go with Chelsea. I'm going to stick with the top four. I think it's going to stay the way it is, but let's see what happens. Actually, that means West Ham would drop out of fourth place. I think Chelsea are going to jump over West Ham, I think, when it counts. Have a great week, guys. We'll see you back here at the Football Show next week. Thank you, guys, for coming on again, and enjoy your football out there around the world, and have a great week, guys. Take care.
Thanks, David. See you, Mike.
Take care, Mike. Take care, Darren.